Stories are connections which transcend realms. My name is Osadumebi, and every week I will tell you a short story written by a Nigerian writer or author. That's the long and short of it. So without much ado, this week's story is by Tarinabo Diete, and it's titled Tag, a Game I Play. This time, my name is Feya. I'm a little darker than my last city, with shoulder-length dark brown locks, and I've got hazel eyes. Nice pick, if you ask me. I've got a beauty mark on the left side of my face, below my nose. I work in an advertising agency, and I've stayed in Durman in Central Sudan for 3 years, 7 months, 6 days, and 16 hours. This is usually about the time I run. But since I haven't yet, this might be a good thing. A good thing which actually hasn't happened in a while. I mean, I've been playing tag since I was 21. It seems normal. And it's like I've let go of a breath I've been holding. I live a pretty comfortable life. Like work 2 well-paying jobs, great apartment, and a fat cat kind of comfortable. Plus, I actually own a fat cat. I go on dinner and lunch dates and scuba dates because why not? I mean, this city is too pretty not to. And I've got other hobbies too. On Saturdays, I play bingo with Nyala and Lois, whom I share a fence with. Lovely old couple when they're not arguing on who will walk their dog or what pie to have for dessert. In these 3 years, 7 months, and 16 days, I have learnt a lot. And these Nubian women have a way of growing on you. I've had a lot of names over the years. Rose, Shola, Babiat, Bianca, and I even got to be Eve twice. This should be exhausting, because before my 2nd year in this city, and ever since I turned 21, I have been sleeping with one eye open, and I have played this game of tag. But in this tag, when you run, you're a new person until they find you. And then tag, you're it. I hear a knock on my door in the middle of my pot making. Should be Susie, I thought, one of Mr. Clegg's sales girls at the store. I wipe clay-stained hands on my apron and head to my kitchen to get the blue neon bottles from under the kitchen sink. Walking to my door, I start commenting out loud. Susie, I was meaning to drop them to Mo. As I swung open the door, standing before me was a face I knew so well I could make a sculpture of it with my eyes closed if I wanted. Thank goodness the rug at my doorstep was plush, saving the bottles I had dropped from smashing to pieces. Leaving my door wide open, I picked up the bottles, turned around and made a beeline for the nearest table, and I crashed into the beanbag next to it. My mind was reeling, trying to process what was happening, hoping it was a figment of my imagination. I don't know why he stood at the door for as long as he did, his eyes wandering, never resting on any one thing for too long. As I looked up at him, I couldn't tell if he was taking in my living room or my clay mess or my scars maybe. which were obvious from the thin strapped tank top I was wearing. I grabbed the fuchsia pink scarf lying on the armrest of the sofa and wrapped it around my shoulder. After what felt like a millennia, he walked in cautiously, as though the floors were made of ice. I had not taken in oxygen, more so uttered a word since my eyes met his at the door. Void of all emotion, our eyes met again. Calmly, he said, "Hapana marefu, yasio na mwisho." And then he screamed. For the first time in 12 years, I felt something stir in my belly. No, it wasn't what I felt when Isha and I locked lips. Neither was it what I felt with Aro that night of beautiful, beautiful sex. Nor Edna when... Nah, that's a story for some other time. Although words betrayed his being, his eyes whispered, "Come back." And a strong surge blew in. I began to relieve my curse in 1,000 moments of creation. I watch pain grasp my throat so tightly I cannot breathe. And even when it lets go, I forget how to. I don't know what I feel, but I am certain it's not hate. I had become acquainted with hate, befriended it, made love to it, stabbed it with a knife, and when it did not die, I killed it with my bare hands and buried it in a glass casket. Definitely not hate. Asking me to come back was asking me to dig up the casket, stare at its content till I felt my heart pumping and blood coursing through my veins. Asking me to come back was making me remember Dotun fisting through my chest and ripping out my beating heart, holding it so carefully before handing it over to another. I remind myself that the universe is made now. And in the moment when the scars of my past trail along my back as reminders, and the echoes of cultures I left behind sound like a faint cry from miles away, and in this new peace I have found, I let me live. I let me love, for I have found another reason to die. So, no, I will not go back, even if it means drawing blood from this very part till there's none left. And with red ink, I will draw. I will write to October, telling him, Elfu huanza na moja. Tarinabo Diete is a writer who resides in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. She is a creative amongst other things, and when she is not curled up on a couch with a story, she tells hers about the people she's met and places she has been, and how she sees the world through her ink. You can read more of her work on Medium at Braid Etari, and connect with her on Instagram at t._d, on X at rican_soul, and on LinkedIn at Tarinabo Diete. Details and links will be in the episode description. If you've got a story you would like to be featured on this podcast, or a published book you want to make into an audiobook, send an email to info@osademebi.com, or send me a message at Osademebi on either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or X. I look forward to collaborating with you. And if you've enjoyed this week's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell someone, everyone, that stories are a good escape for a few minutes each week.